Krishna Prashtha Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vikas Swami Niti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtha Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are reading the Kaṭha Upaniṣad, chapter 1, part 2. This is shloka. We did 11, no? Yes, 11, 10. So I just read to remind ourselves how the flow goes. In the second valley of the first chapter, the Yamaraj is instructing now Nachiketa spiritual knowledge. So he started with Shreya and prayers, then he equated with Vidya and Avidya, then he told how rare it is to find Guru, and by Guru's teaching only God can be understood. Then some qualities of God were described along with qualification of the speaker. So here in Shloka 10 we were reading, I know the absolute treasure. Now the Yamaraj was speaking that I offer you so many mundane treasures, but I'll tell you now the ultimate treasure, what I have for you. That is the Supreme Lord Vishnu. He's never obtained by those who lack consistency. Thus, O Nachiketa, have I meditated upon him who is manifest as sacred fire, and I have thereby obtained him. So now the Yamaraj here ascertains Nachiketa, I know him, I've seen him, I'm Tattvadarshi. I can tell you about him. And then he says, he is the fulfillment of all desires, the foundation of the universe, the eternal refuge of the performance of sacrifices, the transcendence of fear, the mighty object of the Vedic hymns, and having conceived of him and held fast to that conception, O Nachiketa, you have forsaken all mundane allurements. So these Mayavadis, they have all the time great endeavor to turn all these shloka which are describing Lord to describe the soul. They say, I'm the Lord, I'm the Brahman, I'm the equal to the soul. But how you explain? Kamasyaptim, Jagatav Pratishtam. I'm not Jagatav Pratishtan, I did not create. I'm not even in control of this material body. What to speak of controlling all the universe, you know. Abhayasya Param, you know. By worshiping him, you become free from material entanglement. So whom I worship? Myself, to become free from entanglement. It's a little difficult. They have difficulties explaining this shloka. But that's the problem. Most of the commentators on Kaṭha Upaniṣad were impersonalists, Mayavadis, and it's amazing after Madhvacharya and Ramanujacharya given commentaries, why would again somebody speaks those impersonal and monistic concepts in Kaṭha Upaniṣad? I can't understand. You know? Already something is proven. Already went to the lower court and high court and Supreme Court, and all three told the same thing, you know. That's the verdict. And still after that, again they are questioning the person. Again they are questioning, you know. Already Supreme Court has passed. Already Madhva and Ramanuja both, they explain it in dualistic way. The Jiva is eternally different from the Lord. And they explain each shloka word to word. It took so much endeavor to explain it nicely. And again, why to take lower explanation when the higher explanation is already achieved? It's difficult to understand. So, okay, so that was the shloka 11. Today we are reading this. Tam durdarsham gudam anupravishtam guhahitam gahvareshtam puranam adhyatma yoga digamena devam matva dhiro harsha shoka jahati. Tam durdarsham is difficult to see, comprehend, for he has secreted himself in the region of heart of the individual souls, keeping himself hidden there. Guhahitam, guhavareshtam. He is the oldest person, Puranam, and is realized by the process by which one attains union with him. Those sober individuals who realize the Lord transcend material happiness and distress. So realizing God, you transcend material happiness and distress. Okay, and here here is a said it's difficult to see him, difficult to understand him. Durdarsham. No? So Madhvas immediately point out, now that this shloka is direct answer to Nachiketa's question that whether Jiva is in liberated state, still controlled, ruled by the God. So he said, yes, here is clearly stated, and he explains how. The nature of God who regulates liberated soul by entering into their hearts. Now this we'll find again in Gita again. Ishvara sarabhutanam hridaya arjuna tishtati. No? I am the Ishvara, controller in everyone's heart. Sarvasya chaham hridaya nivishto matasmriti jnanam apoharam cha. I am in everyone's heart. I am controlling your rememberness, your forgetfulness. No? Many times this is explained. So here, immediately in Madhva's line, they explain according to Sanskrit meanings. Gavareshtam. Lord enters everyone's heart. Guha hitam. He is in the heart, and he is the soul of the Mukta Jivas, also residing in their heart. Gavareshtam. Now, Gavareshtam is also translated that the Mukta Jivas, who are also difficult to be understood by common man, who is covered by ignorance, because we know from Shastra also that activities of pure devotees are difficult to understand. So he is in the heart of all souls, but particularly he manifests himself fully, freely. It's easily obtainable by the Jivan Muktas. So you can't say, but it sounds in English like this. He is in everyone's heart, but particularly he is in the heart of liberated souls. Means there is an immediate communication, there is a direct darshan, then is no more durdarshan. Okay. But for others is durdarshan. Why? Because they did not realize him, they cannot see him, because he is hidden in the heart. So this is the mystery. Where is Lord? Where is Lord? It's right in our heart and we cannot see him. This is the subtlety of the Lord. No? Unless he reveals himself, unless he shows you the path through the Guru, through the Parampara, how to come to him, it's difficult to see him. So, how is hidden? Gudam. He is hidden by our ignorance. Our ignorance is covering our eyes, so we cannot see him. No? And that, why ignorant? Because of our action, because of our desires. So their activities and desires in material world cause the ignorance, cause the covering of our eyes not to see. So these are all explained word by word. Difficult to see because Gudam is hidden by knowledge. Anupravishtam, that has entered into all beings. And Ramanuja here immediately quotes shloka which will come later in Kaṭha Upaniṣad. So this is beauty of Upanishad. You quote the very same Upanishad to explain it. Because later on, later texts explain more details or explain in different angle what is spoken now. So again, another shloka used the word Guham Pravishtau. Guham Pravishtau. Now if you know a little bit of Sanskrit, you will understand Dvau, Shtau refers to two persons. We have in English singular and plural, but in the Sanskrit you have dual also. There is different form for speaking. I said, they said, and two of us. View, pravishtau, au is at the end. You can't translate in English because it's not there, the form is not there. So now you can see when two lords are described, Krishna and Balaram described, Ishwarau, two Ishwaras, Ishwarau. So here, Guham Pravishtau means two are residing in the heart. O Nachiketa, the expansion Lord Vishnu, as the tiny living entity and the super soul are both situated within the cave of the heart of this body. Okay, so Lord is in the heart, but that doesn't mean I'm the Lord. Two souls are in our heart. One is our soul, us, and not our soul, sorry. Our soul is Paramatma, that is soul of the soul. We are the soul and Lord is Paramatma, super soul, supreme soul. So both, Guham Pravishtau, that's right, quoted from Kaṭha Upaniṣad. And many places, we'll get many quotes today, don't worry. We have plenty of quotes. Acharyas are showing you that what we translate is consistent with all Vedic conclusion. It's not something I push my side, you push your side. You know, it's what Veda says, what Krishna reveals in the Shastra, we understand like that. Okay, Puranam, the ancient one or beginningless, Adhyatma Yoga Digamena, by the concentration of the mind, having withdrawn it from the object of sense gratification and focusing on the self. Okay, so now this is interesting, that by focusing on the self, how do you realize God? In 2 minutes we'll come to that, because we are also part and parcel of God. So there are some similarities. There are some similar characteristics that by understanding ourselves, we can understand Supreme Lord. But we'll come in a few minutes to that. Devam. Now the word Devam is used also in the shloka. The Supreme Lord, some interpreters try to ascribe the shloka to Jiva, not to the Lord. But Ranga Ramanuja say, how is it possible then? I'm in my own heart sitting as the Lord. And that's the problem, that's the problem. They are really pushing. If you see translation, they just ignore. They just ignore statement, Jagat Pravishta, soul. I'm Jagat Pravishta. I establish the universe. You are in your universe of speculation, you establish so much speculations, you fill the whole universe with speculation. That's the only universe you established. You know? So it does not fit. Ranga Ramanuja immediately exposed. One whose soul is God and sitting in my own heart. You know? There is no description such Jiva's characteristic here. It does refers to God only. Matva, knowing. It means in this context that the knowledge of the individual soul is the means to the knowledge of God. So we come back to that point. If you know Adhyatma Yoga, if you know yourself, you can understand God. You can become link. Yoga means to link, to unite with God. So how is that? Srila Prabhupada explains, same point. A drop of seawater, chemically, the drop of seawater has got all the composition as the big seawater. Similarly, we have got all the qualities of God, but in minute quantity. That is the difference between God and ourselves. Or in other words, you can study God also by studying yourself. Whatever propensities you have got, that is also there in God. Everything. Otherwise, where from it comes? No? How can you have something which God doesn't have? Janmad yasyadaha. Everything came from Him. So whatever He has, that has to be manifested everything, in everyone, in everywhere, in everything. So, because I'm part and parcel, if I have got all this propensity naturally, in full and without any inebriety, those things are present in God. Now the difference in Jiva and God is that He has all the qualities in perfection, Purnam, and we don't have. But all the tendencies, inclinations, desires, abilities, knowledge, qualities, everything is present in the Lord in the perfect pure state. And in us is in minute quantity. So Prabhupada continues explaining. Now here in this world, we have got experience that we want to love somebody. Anyone, even in animal kingdom. A lion also loves the cubs. The love is there, prema. It is called prema. So therefore, this loving affair is there also in God. And when we come in contact with God, our dealings will be simply on the basis of love. I love Krishna, or God, and Krishna loves me. This is our exchange of feelings. So, this is the very powerful logic. When there is a cause and there is an effect. Correct. So, whatever is in effect, 100% must be contained in the cause. Correct? You can't make anything else. No? If I give you rice for cooking, correct? And you serve some kind of dosa, chapati, you serve chapati. And I wonder, how is it possible? I given you rice and you're serving chapati. And then, so cause cannot be different from the effect cannot be different from the cause. You have only rice in the kitchen, but you're serving chapatis. What is the mystery? Mystery is you grind that rice, make rice powder and make chapatis. Because these only ingredients are given you. You have nothing else. So it must be. So whatever is in us must be in God. But again, as you see, rice is looking a little different from rice powder. So the cause is the same, but may not be manifested fully exactly in the same form as a result, as an effect. So the Prabhupada explained this important thing that we can, by understanding us, we are individual, God is individual. We have desires, God has desires. No. Why would God have desire? He is Atmarama. But why would be he desireless? No? One can have everything. I'm a rich man. I can have everything. Okay, I'm billionaire. I'm not, but for example. So, whatever I want to eat, I can buy. But it doesn't mean that I don't have preferences, even if I'm a billionaire. I can eat Karela, I can eat parathas, I can eat tacos, I can eat burritos, whatever I want I can eat because I can afford it. But still, as an individual, I have preferences. I like khichdi. What do you do with me? Even if you give me all money in the world, I'll ask in the morning, can you make some hot khichdi? So I have preferences. So it doesn't mean that because he can fulfill all of his desire that he does have no preferences, that he has no taste, that he has no personalities. No? Krishna likes to play flute. He could play any other instrument. But he chosen flute. He's a person. No? He prefers to live in village. No? He could have. Once we met one Swamiji in North India. It's a Hare Krishna. How you defined? It's a Vaishnava line polluted by Mayavad. It's a mixed. They say that we worship Krishna, we worship Vishnu, but when you come see their altar, you'll see crown and dress. There is no form. But flute is there, crown is there, peacock feather is there, padukas are there, but Lord is not there. And for sure, Lord is not there because they don't accept the form of the Lord. So it's a kind of some crazy one. So we were talking to the Swamiji. It's a big party in that place of the world. I can tell you, it's this Pranami Sampradaya in Gujarat. So many followers, temples, like that. And Swamiji told, come, I'll tell you, come, I'll show you what I did. So, okay, what? So I built a model of Vaikuntha. I said, wow. And looks like skyscraper of some wooden model he built like this, big like this, and many multi-story building, kind of octagonal, and, I say, what are you doing? No, this Lord's house must be the best, no? No? So, but he forgot. Lord prefers to live in village. Krishna lives in Nandabhavan, which is a little nice palace in the small village, but everything else is cottages, mud cottages and that. So he tried to speculate, Of course, you may say Vaikuntha is opulence, multi-story building is there, yes. But the concept is that God he prefers live in village. He could have preferred live in Mathura or Dwarka, make his headquarters. He does. But in the sweetest, the most exalted, the dearest place for him is Vrindavan, Livij atmosphere. Means he has personality. He has his preferences. He has his taste. So this is all explained here. Okay, then let me see, what do we have here? Okay, so this is explained here. It is difficult to achieve because it's in the heart of everyone, and he is the Atma of the Atma. And this is how he controls. And this is also, you will find later on, shlokas will come, not to repeat ourselves, that Lord is Anumanta Upadrishta, from where? Upadrishta, Anumanta Upadrishta. Upadrishta means overseer. Anumanta permitter. Where? In the heart of everyone. So it's not that they are speaking this. So what is the Madhvas conclude? This shloka is direct answer to question whether Jiva is controlled by Lord even after moksha. Definitely yes, he is in the heart even of the liberated souls. And he controls them. Now control in spiritual freedom is given because control is by love. That is different issue how he is controlling. But still he is superior. Still he is in charge. Still he is dominating the jivas. No? So this is direct answer. Okay. And text 13 also. Text 13 continues, same answer. Etat shrutva samparigrihya martya pravrihya dharmyam anum etam apya samodate modaniyam. Samodate modaniyam. Hi labdva vivritam sadma nachiketa samanya. Having heard this teaching regarding the Supreme Being and fully grasping it with all, the embodied soul, upon destroying the misconception of no distinction between the Lord and the atomic jiva, attains the subtle possessor of personal characteristics, Lord Vishnu. He then experiences bliss because he has attained him who is the absolute source of all bliss. The gate of Vaikuntha has opened to Nachiketa, in my opinion. So now the Yamaraj is speaking here. Etat Shutva, when you knew that even after moksha, Jiva is under control of the Lord, and you know the glories of the Lord who is in heart of everyone, no? And fully grasping it, you have to realize it. Means you have to apply all these practices in life, from mind control, sense control, obeying the Guru, chanting the mantra, doing the yaga, all these things are described, no? Then you realize, what do you realize? Yeah, that destroying misconception that Jiva and Bhagavan are same, that should be clear. No, this is different. Attains the subtle possessor of personal characteristics, Lord Vishnu. You see how nicely expressed. You see, this is the language of Upaniṣad. It's a little precise. No? Attains the subtle possessor. Because previous shloka was described that he is residing in the soul of the soul. No, he's Anor Anya. He's smaller than the smallest. We are coming to that, but that was already mentioned in previous shloka 8. Shloka 8, that was already mentioned. So, he then experiences bliss. Samodate modaniyam. Modate means joy, bliss. Modaniyam, that which is giving the joy. Samodate modaniyam is an amazing Sanskrit language, is very amazing, the way it's expressed. No? You get bliss from the source of the bliss. That's what it means. So, hilabdva virta sadma nachiketa. And then Yamaraj concludes, Nachiketa, you know all these points because you were not tempted. You already controlled. You came and approached me for spiritual knowledge. I think gate of Vaikuntha is open to you. No? So this is the translation. So here again, the Madhvas immediately point out that the important distinction between Lord and Jiva again is there. In the shloka explained, no? Because by knowing Supreme Lord, you are free and you become blissful also. It was already explained that He is controller. By knowing that, you realize Him and then you become blissful because He is source of all bliss. Etat Shutva. Okay, this is, see word by word. Having heard that knowledge of self and Brahman, some parigrihya fully embrace it or knowing it, realizing it. Having known it as separate from Jiva and dwelling in the Mukta Jiva. That is referred to the previous shloka. But now, Etat Shutva. By hearing this, means by knowing it. Just like if I say, Mahaprabhu, please, you leave the place. And he just continues sitting. So, did you hear me? Yeah, I heard you. But you are still sitting. No? So hearing means doing it, understanding. Shrutva, once, did you hear? Yes. So you say, Mahaprabhu, leave out. Okay. He leaves. No? If I ask, did you hear? Yeah, I heard. But you are not acting, means you didn't hear. You are not hearing. Do it. No? So Shrutva means Etat Shutva, hearing all this and practicing it, applying, realizing. Then some parigrihya gives you clarification. That must be matured, it must be fully realized, that knowledge must be fully accepted and grasped properly. So what is that? That Jiva is separate and is dwelling even in Mukta Jivas. Now as soon as you say dwelling in the heart means controller. That's what it's indicated here. Okay. Matyaha, mortal, Parivrihya, having separated or known by discrimination. Now if you say this separated or knowing discrimination has two meanings. One is separated gross and subtle bodies which are produced by karmas, dharmyam. That is one meaning. Once you die and you separate from gross and subtle body, you actually realize your Swarupa and then you are seeing the Lord, you attain that place. Or Parivrihya separating what? Separating the Jiva and God are same. That must be clear. So this is the meaning. Having separated from the various Jivas as being distinct from them. Okay, so God is separated from Jiva and each Jiva is individual from each Jiva also. So Parivrihya can refer to that also. Then Anum, subtle, Anupramanta, Aniyan. That was in Shloka 8 already mentioned. God is subtler than the Jiva. Anu Pramatam Aniyam. He is smaller than the soul. We were discussing, no? It was Shatabhagasya, the tip of the hair you cut in 100, and then one of these pieces cut into 100. That is Atma's size. And he said, he is smaller than that. No? This God, Apya, having reached samodate, rejoicing, modaniyam, what causes rejoicing? Realizing God. And that we know from Shastra. Rasavaisaha, rasam hevayam, labdvanandi bhavati. Same concept, very consistent translations. No? When one understands personality of Godhead, the reservoir of all pleasure, Krishna, he actually becomes transcendently blissful. Rasavaisaha, this is what Prabhupada called the Krishna book. Krishna, the reservoir of all pleasure. This is how it is done in English. When Prabhupada published Krishna, we call it Krishna book. It's written Krishna, the reservoir of all pleasure. No? In Hindi it comes Purna Purushottam, something like that. But actually it's based on this shloka, Rasavaisaha, Krishna, the source of all pleasure. Like that. Labdva, having obtained, Vivrittam, opened, Sadma. Sadma means the house of Brahman. Also refers to the doors of Vaikuntha. Both meanings are there in the dictionary. So now, if you got these options here, this is alternative reading. Having heard this teaching of Brahma and fully comprehending it, the mortal who separates it from jivas reaches the subtle upholder and rejoices because he has found the source of all joy. I think that for Nachiketa, the abode of Brahma or doors of Vaikuntha are open. So that would be the meaning. Now Ranga Ramanuja here immediately says that you have to see this shloka in relation to other shlokas from Upanishads which are describing what happens to the jiva after the mukti. No? Otherwise you will be confused. Is it separate or is it not separate? No? What happens? Does individuality is there or not? So immediately he quotes from Chandogya Upanishad. Esha samprasado smaj charirat samuthaya param jyoti upasampadya svena rupena benishpadyata. Look at this. This is very interesting. The liberated soul rises from the body, reaches the supreme light, param jyoti, and then svena sarupena, then his own spiritual form is revealed. Param jyoti refers to spiritual sky. And we know that first when you come, you see just light. When you enter in, you see spiritual planets. When you enter in, you see form of Vishnu and devotees there. So look at this, you see that Param Jyoti, and then Rupena is shown. In the first comes the Param Jyoti, the transcendental abode, and then Rupa is revealed. No? And we know this from Bhagavatam, same thing. No? First you, Esha samprasado charira, that you give up material body, gross and subtle. Same thing in Bhagavata. Muktir hitva anyata rupam. Hitva means to give up anyata, other forms. Swarupena vyavastiti. Then you have your own spiritual form. So this is explained. Liberation is permanent situation of the form of living entity after he gives up changeable gross and subtle material bodies. Hitva anyata rupam. Give up other form. Swarupena. And your swarupa, your own form. This is not something imposed on you. This body is imposed on us. Just like I impose gloves on my hand. So they are moving, they are touching, I can use them, but I'm not the gloves. I can remove the gloves. But if I go on removing after that, so soul has a form. That's the original form of the living entity. We have a form. We are not formless. So, now, here is hinted. That's why Ranga Ramanuja say, see these shlokas. Then you understand how this samodate modaniyam comes. No? Where is the joy, happiness coming if you have no senses, no personality, no feelings, no desire, if you are merging into oneness? Correct? Where is the joy coming from? Samodate modaniyam. Very clearly, no? What do the souls do? So first you understand, soul has swarupa. This is indicated here in the spiritual world. Soul is conscious, and what the soul does. So again, Chandogya Upanishad is quoted. Look at this shloka. Satatra prayeti jakshan kridan ramamanaha. In the spiritual world, the jiva moves, loves, plays, and enjoys. He's speaking about liberated jiva. He's not speaking of the jiva in material world condition. No? And also this jiva moves, loves, plays, and enjoys. Now this is not separately from the Lord. Okay? When I ask one Christian priest, we ask, okay, what is the goal of life? To go to heaven. So, what do you do in heaven? What do you do in heaven? So many things you can do in heaven. So, what is your concept of heaven? Well, you have beautiful gardens and beautiful houses, and you sit in the garden, all family is there, and the grandparents are there, and all those who died, they are all there. And our favorite dog also there, who Lori went over him, now he is also there. And we eat and we sing and we dance. I say, man, where is Jesus in your heaven, Baba? Oh yeah, Jesus, sometimes he walks through the garden and laughs upon us, smiles upon us and waves us like this. There's no concept of serving the Lord. They think heaven is for my better enjoyment. You see, this is the misconception. So don't misunderstand this. The Jivas go there and then now we are laughing, dancing. No. Eko Devo Nitya Lila Anurakto. The Lord is engaged in the pastimes with His devotees. Everything is spiritual is in relation to Lord. It's not separate. It's not concept, We'll go there, enjoy all these beautiful virgin maidens as offered in some scripture by some believers. So its question is, everything is meant for Krishna's pleasure. He is the center of everything, So that is the concept. And also, Upaniṣad describes the characteristic of liberated jivas, which are not found in the conditioned jivas. Therefore, we can understand who is liberated soul, who is not liberated soul, whether in liberated state or in the conditioned state. But these characteristics are described. They are always, many times you will find in the commentaries of Acharyas, and at this moment, jiva exhibits these 8 characteristics and doesn't give the shloka. It was so known that nobody bothers to even quote it, When you speak of mukta jiva, 8 characteristics are there. Everywhere is mentioned, Many acharyas quote like this. So here is the 8 characteristics from Chandogya Upanishad. Atma pahata, papma, vijaro, vimrityur, vishoko, vijigatso, pipasa, satya kamaha, satya sankalpa, so nveshtavyaha. Atma, pure soul, is without sin and free from all sinful reactions, born of contact with ignorance, nescience. He is devoid of the influence of material nature, meaning that he is ever fresh, youthful. Okay, water refers to what, if not to spiritual body? You understand? It just doesn't make sense unless form is there. It's influence of material nature. So what does it mean? That this body is going to stop getting old? Not this body, not this one. Jatasya hidro mrityur duran janma mritasya cha. Material body is born, has to die. But ever fresh and youthful. Nava yovanam. Same God is described. Nava yovanam. Doesn't die. No? So not this body, the spiritual body. The word vimrityu means incorruptible, deathless. He is equiposed, peaceful, bereft of material hankering, anxiety and lamentation. That also we know. Brahma bhuta prasanatma na shochati na kankshati. No? The word vijigatso implies one who is free from desire for material enjoyment. He is without thirst, apipapsa, with no desire other than to serve the Lord. His only desire to serve Sri Krishna favorably. He successfully fulfills all his spiritual desires. No? So desires are there. No? We are chanting in the morning when we worship Guru. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chiteti Korya Aikya. Guru Mukha Padma, from the lotus mouth of the Guru, instruction comes. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya. Chitete Korya, Chitete in my consciousness, Korya Aikya. I make it one with my consciousness, his instruction. Arna Kori Komane Asha. I have no other desire. Next shloka says, what is that? Ye prasade pure sarva asha. By his mercy, all desires will be fulfilled. But that is qualified in previous shloka, that these are spiritual desires, no? Oh, Guru Maharaj, business is running well. Ye prasade pure sarva asha. But no, it doesn't match previous shloka, no? Arna kori homane asha. I have no other desire than following instruction and fulfilling and working on instruction of my Guru. No? Arna kori homane asha. Ye prasade pure sarva asha. Only my desire is to please him. My desire is to be able to do what he says. My desire is to serve him. By his mercy, I'll be able to serve Krishna. By Krishna's mercy, I'll be able to serve Guru. No? So he's qualified. No? Ye prasade pura sarvash. Maharaj, your mercy. Business going well. All your mercy, Maharaj. Sad. That's also true. But this is not what Shastra mean. Okay. So these are their characteristics absent in conditioned jiva. And they distinguish the conditioned jiva from liberated one. Okay, let's do the shloka 14. Anyatra dharmat, anyatra dharmat, anyatra asmat, krita kritat, anyatra bhutat, shavavyacha, yatad pashyasi, tadvada. Now Nachiketa is speaking. That you tell me more about the Lord. Yat pashyati tadvada. You are seeing Him, you are understanding Him, you realize it. Tadvada, speak about Him. Different to the pious, different to the impious, different to this world of cause and effect, different to that which was and different to that which will be. That is Lord Vishnu. As you see Him, speak then of Him. So the Nachiketa is really inspired by hearing what Yamaraj says, and he said, tell me more about Him. Tell me how dharma, adharma, in past, future, how is this all relating to us? How He is acting, how is, So he wants to know the nature of God as distinct from all others. Because all the time he said, He's in everyone, but He's completely aloof. He's not affected. He's not part of material world. Everybody depends on Him. And He's smaller than the smaller, bigger than the biggest. They explain to me how all these different looking contradictory in extreme situations explainable. He mentions some of distinction and wants to know the God who is behind all this. So now another Madhva commentator, Vedesha Tirtha, he says here that what refers to this dharmat, adharmat, antarasmat, krita, kritat, refers the fact of God being distinct from jiva and jada is brought out here. So now this is very much prominent in Madhva philosophy, where he explains these Pancha Vedas, the 5 differences. That Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, is different from jiva. He is different from material world, also from jada tattva. Different. These are 2 differences, okay? Then jiva is different from the jiva, each jiva is individual, and jiva is different from the jada tattva. And finally, jada also is different manifestation from jada. So these Pancha Veda, 5 differences are there. So here is clearly established distinct. He is distinct from jiva and material world. That is emphasized here according to Vedesha Tirtha. Now Bhaktivinoda Thakur uses this shloka, and I think this is from Tattva Sutras. Yeah, from Tattva Sutras, and he translates like this. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, same shloka translates. You can see the Supreme. Of course you must understand, Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote in Bengali. So we are having now translation from Bengali to English, but still the words are as much possible used to explain how he translated it from Sanskrit. So this is double translation, you must be aware of that. You can see the Supreme who stands beyond material piety and impiety. So that is the dharma, dharmat. Okay. Anyatra, he is different. Dharmat, anyatra dharmat, adharmat. He is different from dharma, he is different from adharma. Now, so here, the Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, you can see Supreme who stands beyond material piety and impiety, beyond past and future. Please tell me about Him. Simple, clear translation, very meaningful. No? Now another explanations of Acharyas is here, that in this shloka 3 questions are asked. The nature of the Lord, the nature of the sadhana, the means of knowing Him, and the nature of jiva who attains the Lord, and the attainer. These 3 are asked here. So now they explain word by word how they got to this point. How do they get to translation? You'll see what is good with Acharyas. Whatever meaning they give, they explain. This word means this word means this word refers to this. Therefore this conclusion is there. So the shloka can mean only about the Lord, can mean about Lord, Jiva and Prakriti, and can means about Lord, sadhana and the sadhaka. All these 3. So then if you explain the words in that way, then you get translation. Tell me what is different from the methods, attainments and sadhakas which are done and not done, and what is the difference from them in the past and the future. So that also questions are about, process of attaining to God and different sadhakas, and also explaining that the method, how do you reach God. No. So what is dharma? What is a dharma? What is prescribed? What is not prescribed? Also, it may means dharma is a regular pious activity. But then, anyatra dharma, is there any other way to achieve through pious activity? Anyatra dharma means, show me another path. He said, is there anything else? How do I reach him? No? Anyatra dharma. It's interesting, anyatra dharma, and then he said, adharma also. No? Tell me also, other things we should not do, that we ruin opportunity to reach him. So Sanskrit is like this. That's why many, many angles are there. Huh? Okay, so now we come to the very famous shloka used by Prabhupada many times. This is the shloka 15, 1 to 15. Sarva Veda yat padam amananti tapamsi sarvani chayad vadanti yad ichanto brahmacharyam charanti tate padam samgrahena bravimi om ityetad. Now, okay, let's just see the translation. Yama said, that form which all the Vedas indicate and all the penances they describe to realize it, and desiring which the brahmacharis study and maintain celibacy, shall I describe to you in brief. This is called Om. Now this is, in personalists, they rejoice seeing shlokas like this. But you will see how the personalists rejoice seeing shloka like this too. Because to them is very clear, it's speaking about personal God. And here it will explain how. Now, this is famous. Sarva Veda yat padam amananti. All the Vedas are describing him. Some, I would say, I didn't say in traditional scholars, but some of the modern scholars explain Sarva Veda yat padam amananti, that all the Vedas describe his lotus feet. Fine, padam means the abode. So that's also abode for the devotees, his lotus feet. So it could be explained, but in the I didn't find in the traditional commentators, but some in the modern books who translated recently those shloka, they use that very much. So maybe it's there. But here was not translated like this. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur again translates this shloka in his Tattva Sutras. The Supreme Being, whom the Vedic literature preeminently describes as the supreme object of attainment, is Sri Vishnu, about whom, however, I will speak only in brief. All austerities have been ordained for performance for the purpose of his pleasure and satisfaction. To attain him, the brahmacharis go to abode of their guru and maintaining celibacy study the Vedas. The Supreme Absolute Truth is manifest by the sound Om. Okay, now this is very, very precise translation because the many words have double or triple meanings, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur really included all of this in this translation. You see, if you go every shloka, word by word, is more clearer to understand why they translated like this. Now we are just hearing translation and accepting it. But the beauty of explanation and what gives you conviction and faith is to see how they use the words, no? And how they say cannot mean anything else than this. No? So we'll go like this. Okay. Srila Prabhupada translates this shloka like that. Sarva Veda yat padam amananti. Actually, just first. Sarva Veda yat padam amananti. All Vedic knowledge is searching after the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now this is very interesting translation. All the Vedas describe Lord. Okay. Now he says all Vedic knowledge is searching after the Lord. Because even personified Vedas in Krishna Book Lila, they are also approaching Lord, they are also after the Lord, they also want to enter into Krishna Lilas. So they did austerity to get spiritual bodies like a gopis to participate in Krishna Lilas. So look at this translation. All Vedic knowledge is searching after the Supreme Person. Sarva Veda yat padam amananti. Sarva Veda yat padam amananti. Okay. So that we find all over the Vedic literature this. Yosau sarve Veda giyate. He is glorified by all the Vedas. No? Giyate. Alright? Another one from Brihadaryanaka Upaniṣad. Tam tva Upanishadam Purusham Prichami. Now Purusham what is used? Person, Supreme Person. No? I'm asking about that person who is taught in the Upanishads. No? So disciple is asking Guru, tell me now about that person who is described in Upanishad. Tam tva Upanishadam Purusham Prichami. No? Brihadaryanaka Upanishad. Harivamsha says, Vede Ramayane Chaiva Purane Bharate Tata Adanta Chamadya Cha Hari Sarvatra Giyate. In the Vedic literature, including Ramayana, Puranas, Mahabharata, from the very beginning, Adao, to the end, Advanta, from beginning to the end, as well as within the middle, Madhyacha, only Hari, Supreme Personality of Godhead, is explained. Hari Sarvatra Giyate. So this is how, through these eyes, now you see these explanations of the shlokas. So now we can understand different meaning of words, word to word, then you will understand where these meanings are coming from. Padam. Padam means the nature. Padam means word. Like we have Padapad, word to word translation. No? We have Prabhupada gives shloka and then Padapad, word to word translation. Meaning, state. Padam, Om Tat Vishnu Paramam Padam, abode. Okay? Refers to God and nature or real form. All these things are meaning of Padam. Now, in the Sanskrit grammar, Padaniyam, Gamaniyam signifies the nature of attainable. Padam, Padaniyam, that which is attainable, Gamaniyam, it will be attained. It's difficult to explain. But it's something attainable. Okay, it's explained. Padam, it's something attainable. Amananti, uniformly declare or demonstrate or express principally. Amananti. No? So now if you have shloka, you can see here. Sarva Veda yat padam amananti. Very clearly, distinctly, specifically, diligently explaining, pointing at him. No? All the Vedas are meant for that one purpose. This is why you can see in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's translation, no? The Supreme Being whom the Vedic literature preeminently describe. No, this is coming from Amananti. Preeminently. Very, very specifically. Uniformly. And all the Vedas are pointing at that. Our Vedas speak so many things. When we ask local Pandit Smarta, Brahmin who is doing a lot of yagyas around, Karmakanda yagyas, we ask him, man, what is the goal of Vedas? You're studying the Vedas, you're using the Vedas, you're chanting Veda mantras. What is the goal of Vedas? Oh, Vedas have so many goals. No, uniformly declare, Amananti, clear, Hari Sarvatra Giyate. The Lord is the goal. Veda ischa sarva aham eva vedyo. Krishna is the goal of the Vedas. Not so many goals are there. But you have so many steps to reach that goal. That is different. There are many small steps to reach the goal. But all is single pointed. Vedas are consistent. That's why you can quote Upaniṣad. That's why you can quote from Puranas. You can quote from everywhere. They are consistently pointing at the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is explained. Okay. Now, Ranga Ramanuja comments like this. If Padam is taken as a word, and Samgrahena briefly, meaning is like this, Nachiketa is asking, what is that word in the Vedas which indicates that briefly? Either you briefly tell me, or the word is brief word which describes the Lord. And Yama say, when you see in Vedas Om, you understand that refers to the Supreme Lord. Because if you open the Veda, any Veda, every Vedic mantra starts with Om and finishes with Om. Everything. I was sitting there when Madhvas were studying the Vedanta Sutra. Every mantra, how they chant. Om, Atato Brahma Jigyasa Om, Om Janmadhyasyata Om, Om Shutestu Shabda Mulatvat Om. Like that they chant. Veda man, you have to put Om beginning when this is Lord, represents the Lord, is Lord himself, is Krishna's name, is not different from him. So he said, Om Ityukta. That is indicated by Om. And he said briefly, Samgrahena, briefly I will tell you. No? Either briefly I will describe, because you can't describe Lord fully, or it's condensed in one word, Om. Simply to say Om, you are referring to that Supreme Lord. And that is described, no? That who is that Om? Krishna says in Gita, Pranava Sarva Vedeshu. Om is also known as Pranava. I am the symbol Om in the Vedic literatures. And you will understand how important is this when you see the Vedic literature. Without Om, you can't do anything. You can't chant one single Vedic mantra without uttering Om. It's the beginning, at the end, in the middle, everything is about Supreme Lord. Pranava, 3 letters. A, U and M, also known as Akshara or Omkara, no? Syllable Om. So Prabhupada explains, Pranava or the Omkara, transcendental sound in the beginning of every Vedic hymn, addresses the Supreme Lord. Because you cannot know Him without addressing Him. O Supreme Lord, first your blessings, then we'll start studying Vedas. No? Everything, any invocation, Om Purnamadav Purnamidam, we were chanting, no? Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu, we were chanting, no? Invocation mantras. You have to invoke Lord. Whatever you do first, you know. Even today people are pious in India, even writing on the bill, no? On their letterhead, receipt or receiving money or something, or writing anything, marriage card or anything, first they'll put something on top. Either Om Ganapate Namaha, or they'll put Shri Ram, or they'll put Hare Krishna, or but mostly Om is used in this very much. But Lord will be invoked, that's the point. Even if they don't put Om directly, but there will be Lord name, something. Om Namo Narayana, they will put something, no? You've seen it, you are doing it. Even our devotees, I say, when you open notebook, first he said, write small one on top, Hare Krishna, then he will write the notes. Good. Om. The concept is from Vedas, Om. So Prabhupada explains this further. Omkara, or the Pranava, is the seed of transcendental realization, and it is composed of the three transcendental letters, A, U and M. The Omkara, Pranava, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, represented by letters. See that? It's the Lord represented by the letters. Bhagavad Gita says the letters A, U, M combined together as Om represents the Supreme Lord. And they are, I tell you, we can have another 30 days speaking on Om only from the Vedic literature, how many explanations, our acharyas gave commentaries, this, that. So we are also doing it briefly for the because we'll never finish this Kaṭha Upaniṣad otherwise. But we are not discussing much because we are Vaishnava. We want to call Lord by His primary names which are related to His pastimes. Madan Mohan, Govinda, Gopinath. But if you say Om, you are addressing same Krishna. Krishna himself said, this is my name, Om, refers to me. I'm addressed, I'm Pranava, Sarva Vedashu. I'm that Om. Okay. Again, in Bhagavad Gita, he said, Om ekaksharam brahma vyaharan mam anusmaran yav prayati tyajandeham sayati paramam gatim. After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets. So for yoga you have to chant Om, you have to meditate on the Supreme Lord, and that guarantees you that you will not take birth again. So again, very consistent. You see what Upaniṣad says, what Gita says. Om ekaksharam, again. Yeum akshara. The sound, the letter incarnation of the Lord, the sound vibration. So here, Prabhupada explains, in Bhagavad Gita, the Pranava Omkara has been accepted as the direct literal representation of the Supreme Absolute Truth. One who is not able to chant directly the holy name of the Lord, as recommended above, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Eva Kevalam, can easily chant the Pranava Omkara. So you see, it's hinted, mostly non-devotees are interested in chanting of Omkara. Because they can't realize that Krishna's pastimes, form, leelas, qualities are all spiritual. So they hesitate. We don't want forms, we don't want pastimes, we Om. We just want to focus on that Supreme. We don't want to deal with this Krishna's dancing with gopis because we can't understand it. So neophyte, so Prabhupada said, let them chant Om. This Omkara is not of address, such as, O my Lord. Just as Om Hari, Om means, O my Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om, my Lord, and then you address Him. As we have explained before, the Lord's holy name is identical with the Lord Himself. So also is Omkara. But persons who are unable to realize the transcendental personal form of the name of the Lord, on account of their imperfect senses, in other words, the neophytes, are trained in the practice of self-realization by this mechanical process of regulating breathing function and simultaneously repeating the pranava Omkara within the mind. So Prabhupada says, speaking here about the yogis and other impersonal transcendentalists who are meditating on Lord and by mechanical process, pranayama and yoga asana and following the rules and everything, meditation, then they chant Om. So you can see very much. Now in the West, everybody is doing yoga, everybody is chanting Om. You know? But Hare Krishna, why Krishna? Why you giving name to God? That is what is irritating them. Because God has a name. That's why you give name to God. Okay. Omkara is the basic principle of all Vedic mantras, for it is the representation of Krishna, understanding of whom is the ultimate call of the Vedas, as stated Gita, Vedeshasare, Hamayava Vedyo. Mayavadi philosophers cannot understand these simple facts explained in Bhagavad Gita, and yet they are very proud of being Vedantists. Look at this. Please, little attention. This commentary is amazing. You know this one. Sometimes, therefore, we refer to the Vedanti philosopher as Vedantist. Vedanti is pronounced a little bit mispronounced. Vedantist. Those who have no teeth. V means without, and Danti means possessing teeth. Vedantist, not Vedantist. Vedantist. Why? The statements of the Shankara philosophy, which are the teeth of Mayavad philosopher, are always broken by the strong arguments of Vaishnava philosophers such as the great Acharya, especially Ramanuja Acharya. Sripad Ramanuja and Madhvacharya break the teeth of the Mayavad philosopher, who can therefore be called Vedantist, toothless, because they are very proud. They keep monopoly of Vedanta. They don't accept that God has a form. They don't accept God as a person. They don't accept God has feelings, desires, qualities. They don't accept that God has spiritual body. They don't accept that God can enjoy pastimes and have relationship with gopis without accruing the sin. They don't accept. Basically, you don't accept that Lord has form, His name, His form, His pastimes. That means you are atheist. You don't believe in God, Baba. It does not exist. It's as good as that. This is what it comes to. Then to whom you are praying? To whom your all prayers are offered? If there is no person to hear, who is hearing? Who is answering your prayers? Oh Lord, please help. Who is helping you? Nobody is there. You are calling wrong number. Nobody is there. This number does not exist. Om, Om. But it's Krishna. He will pick up when you get it clear in your head, no? But it's amazing how this Mayavadis are keeping monopoly over Vedanta, over Upanishads, you know. That was irritating. That was one of the reasons why to speak of Kaṭha Upanishad. It's irritating. There is no Vaishnava commentaries anywhere on the market available, you know. But it's there. But they are not accessible. They are not there in one way. Okay. Now, a little more about Omkara, so we are clear that we are speaking about Krishna. Prabhupada says, what is that? This is Vedanta toothless. Okay. Now, this is explanations. Since Omkara is the basic principle of all Vedic knowledge, it is uttered before one begins to chant any Vedic hymn. Without Omkara, no Vedic mantra is successful. The Goswamis therefore declared that Pranava Omkara is the complete representation of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they have analyzed Omkara in terms of alphabetical constituents as follows. Okay. So now, this is, I think this is from Jiva Goswami. A kareno chate Krishna sarva lokaika nayaka. You, u kareno chate radha ma karo jiva vachaha. So Goswamis of Vrindavan explains like this. Omkara is combination of the letters A, U and M. A, kareno chate Krishna. The letter A, akara. That already you've seen previous discussion. A is the first letter of A, I, U. That refers to Lord Vishnu, Krishna. So letter A, Akara, first. A, U, M. A refers to Krishna, who is Sarva Lokaika Nayaka, the master of all living entities and planets, material and spiritual. Sarva Lokaika Nayaka. Again, you come to that point. Controller of the spiritual and material worlds. Okay. Nayaka means leader. He is the supreme leader. Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam. The letter U, Ukara, indicates Srimati Radharani, the pleasure potency of Krishna. And M, Makara, indicates the living entity Jivas. Thus, Om is the complete combination of Krishna, his potency, and his eternal servitors. In other words, Omkara represents Krishna, his name, fame, pastimes, entourage, expansion, devotees, potencies, and everything else pertaining to him. So when we say Om, we think of Radha, Krishna and Jivas. All Jivas meant to serve him. That means when you think of Radha Krishna, what do you think of? First, Okay, close your eyes. Let's do impersonal meditation. Close your eyes. All right. Now, I'll say, Om Radha Krishna. Okay, now you tell me. When I say Om, what picture came in your mind? Nothing. Correct? But when I say Radha Krishna, immediately, sitting on Jula, no? Radha Krishna in Vrindavan, Radha Krishna under the tree, Radha Krishna, correct? So you see, when we say Om, we have no problem. Who is it? Radha Krishna, Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, right into Damodar Lila. Kartik coming soon, no? So to premeditate. Om Damodaraya Namaha. No? Yeah? You see, understand what is the problem. When you know clearly what is it, you have no problem. So now that sometimes devotees are disturbed, what did you say, Om? Baba, it's not sin, Baba. I didn't call Hiranyakashipu, I called Krishna, Baba. Another extreme we go, Om is banned now, prohibited. Don't say Om. But every day we chant Om. When you offer Bhoga to the Lord, you chant Om. When you offer Yagya, you chant Om. You can't avoid Om because that is Krishna. But problem is, the impersonalists again keep monopoly over it. It's over. We chant Om, you chant Hare Krishna. But there is no difference, you fool. I chant this name of God, you chant this name of God. No? What is the difference? Same God we are calling. No? So we understand, you see this, everything, fame, pastimes, name, entourage, expansion, devotees, potencies, everything is included in Om. Okay? Okay, now, from Rig Veda quotes. Om ityetat brahmano nedishtam nama yasmad ucharyamana evam samsara bhayat tarayati tasvat uchate tarayati. Om asya jananto nama chidviviktam mahaste vishnu sumatim bhajamahe om tat sat. Now this is from Rig Veda explanation. Okay. Alright, here is the translation. One who chants Om, which is the closest form of Brahman, approaches Brahman. By chanting Om, Krishna's name, you attain Krishna. This liberates one from the fear of material world. Therefore is known as Tarak Brahman. So this Omkara is called Tarak Brahman because delivers you. Okay. Therefore Prabhupada said, Chaitanya Charitamrita said, this is Mahavakya, one of the great chants found in the Vedas, Om, because also delivers, just like Mahamantra. Now, what is it? O Vishnu, your self-manifested name, Om, is the eternal form of cognizance. Alright? Don't believe. Om Asya Jananto Nama Chidvivikta Mahaste Vishnu. Vishnu, this is your name. Rig Veda says, the definition of Om. So it's not that Om refers to impersonal something. It's a name for Krishna. It's Vishnu's name which gives you moksha. Now, when you say Madan Mohan, because this is directly related to Lord's Leela, the name describes Madan and Mohan. Now, one who bewildered even Cupid, one who attracted even the Kamadev. So, you perceive the form. But in Om, because we are not knowledgeable or we are not trained, we are not perceiving the form, name, pastimes also, everything is there. Or we don't perceive Vishnu. But Veda says, Lord Vishnu, this is your name. Om is your name. So when devotee says Om, he has no problem. What we are doing every morning, Om Keshavaya Nama, Om Narayana Nama, Om Madhava Nama, Om Govinda Nama, Om Vishnave Nama. Baba, how many times you chant Om in a day? But we don't even notice because we are focused, Krishna. No? But all day we are chanting also, no? So you see, this is from Rig Veda directly. Even if my knowledge about the glories of reciting this name is incomplete, still, by the practice of reciting this name, I will achieve that perfect knowledge. Because it's purifying. No, it's pure. He who has unmanifested potency and is fully independent manifests the vibration Omkara which indicates himself. So now, Lord who has all the potency and is fully independent, still he appears in the sound, transcendental sound of Om by his own sweet feel to purify us. Similarly, in the holy name, yesterday we were reading this explanation. Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan are the three forms he manifests. So the Om, Ye-U-M, refers also to Brahma, Paramatma, Bhagavan. And I tell you, there is no end to it. Refers to creation, maintenance, destruction. Refers to the three stages of consciousness of Susupti and Jagrita, and it refers to so many things. So each of them you will find explanation in Veda's definition and mantras. So really when you chant Om, if that doesn't remind you on God, then it's really your difficult case. Everything is pointing at God and His creation and His powers and His potencies and His pastimes and His qualities, everything. No? So now the Acharyas explain, just as some beautiful tree, mango tree, which gives so much nice fruit, started with seed. The Om is the seed of all the Vedic mantras. So this is another, just to give us a little more explanation. No? And therefore, every mantra begins with Om, including Gayatri mantra, which is another Maha mantra described in the Vedas. Why Maha mantra? Great song of deliverance, Prabhupada translates. Maha mantra, Manasatrayate, delivers. So even Gayatri mantra starts with Om. So the Om is Bija, the seed mantra of the Gayatri mantra, which is meant to deliver us. Then you understand the importance of Om, how important it is. No? Vedanta Sutra begins with Om. All the Vedas begins with Om. All Upanishads begins with Om. Srimad Bhagavatam begins with Om. Om Janmadhyasya Tanmaya. No? Bhagavatam begins in Om. So cannot be something wrong with Om if Bhagavatam begins with Om. Means the only wrong is our understanding of it. That's only what is wrong. Therefore, it can safely be said that our search for Krishna begins with Om. This is Acharya's commentary. Now, Gopal Tapani Upanishads gives translation of the Om. Ye U-M. Look at this. Rohini Tanayo Ramo Akarakshara Sambhavaha. The A in Om, Rohini Tanaya, refers to Balaram. Okay. Tijas Satmaka Pradyumna Ukarakshara Sambhavaha. Pradyumna is you. Pragyatmako Aniruddho Vai Makara. M means Aniruddha. Ardha Matram Mako Krishna. And then E-U-M, the dot on the M. E-U-M, that nasal sound must come. That refers to Krishna, Yasmin Vishwam Pratishtam. Krishna, who is Vishwam Pratishtam. No? This is from Upanishad's explanation. So now when you chant Om, Balaram, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Krishna, Sankarshan, Vasudev, Dwaraka Leela, everything is happening, no? You can meditate on Goloka, which Chaturyuga is protecting, surrounding. You can meditate on Vaikuntha. Just say Om and you are right into Krishna Leelas. No? It's amazing, no? All right. Say Om, 9 o'clock. In next two shlokas which are coming now, there will be Yamaraj prizes this Pranava Omkara. Now he goes on explaining the glories of that. Now he said briefly, I'd say Om, and then two shlokas he explained about this Pranava Omkara. So that we'll hear later because Om, 9 o'clock. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So we'll continue tomorrow. Hare Krishna.